Good afternoon. Welcome to today's webinar event. This is Josh. I'm going to be your presenter today. It's noon Eastern Time here on Friday, 15th of December. Happy Friday, everybody. We're here to talk about cleaning up our chart of accounts. Okay, so our topic today is based on our workbook, accounting workbook A102, pages 15 to 22. If folks have those workbooks, you may want to use those as your guide here. That's what I'm using as the basis for our event today. Again, that's A102, pages 15 to 22. Cleaning up the chart of accounts, really it's about adding, deleting, editing accounts in accounting. There are certainly more things that that might involve cleaning up the chart of accounts than this, but this is based on this particular topic specifically. If you don't have the Church Windows workbooks, you may consider purchasing those. If we open up our internet browser and we go to our website and we go to our training workbooks page right here, you can purchase the training workbooks right here. And if we go down to accounting, we've got A102 right here, and you can purchase those right online in the printable PDF files, FYI. If you've never attended a Church Windows webinar event before, please use the little red arrow on the sidebar of your control panel there to minimize the webinar control panel. Just gets it out of your way. And if you have questions, please type those in the questions portion of the webinar for me. I'll certainly do my best to keep an eye on those, and we'll try to get those questions answered for you. If I don't get to them during the event, then I'll certainly be happy to stick around and see what we can't do to get those answered at the very end, if you can stick around. Otherwise, I'll try my best to keep an eye on those and get those answered. I'm just looking here on our support center to see if there's something that I've got that we might already have on this. We are recording today's event, but there might be a editing accounts that we have from a previous year here, so I'm just quickly taking a look through this to see if we've got the editing, if we've got another video on editing accounts out here. You don't have to wait for the recording for us here. Yeah, so maybe under your New Year prep or something like that, there might be something. It doesn't look like I'm finding anything. I'm sorry. Okay, well, we'll do our best to get this out as quickly as we can. So certainly, as we're doing this, we're hosting this particular topic deliberately here in mid-December 2015 because, as many of you are approaching the end of the year. You're, wrapping up 2017. You're preparing to open 2018, or maybe some of you already have probably. Manipulating, editing, changing, deleting the chart of accounts in the chart of accounts is very important, and so we're here to talk today about the various ways that we can go about doing that, okay? There are several ways that you can actually edit or delete or add or add accounts or change them in the Church Windows accounting software, okay? So the first one is from the chart of accounts screen itself. So if we go let me introduce my highlighter friend here. Right here, either to manage accounts in the middle, or we go up to manage accounts in the top left and view, manage accounts in view. It all opens our chart of accounts window, and that's where we want to be. Okay, so one of the first things is, when we're at the chart of accounts, this is again a little known fact by folks, is that right here at the chart of accounts we can edit these account names. So if we notice here, we've got, like, if I click in my National City Bank CD number, if I go, I don't want to leave that on my chart of accounts, I can just click in there and just edit out that account number, and I've just changed that account name. Okay, does its little circle thing and it updates the account. So you can just edit the account names right there at the chart of accounts itself. Okay. Very simple. Just again, a lot of folks don't know that it's that easy to change an account name there. Okay. What we're really here to look at, though, is if we go over here to our Tree View tab. Let me again grab my highlighter to steer some focus right up here. Tree View. It's one of the tabs across the top right of our chart of accounts. that if we click on that tree view, it does reveal all of our chart of accounts. Assets, liabilities, funds, and our income and expenses are revealed beneath each one of our funds because those income and expenses are linked to a fund of some kind. Okay, so this is the entire chart of accounts on the tree view tab. Okay, so you can edit accounts or add them here too. So if I go right up here to assets and I collapse that down, I don't even have to collapse it, but if I just right click over it, notice it brings up the floating help message and says add a new asset. Okay, so if I click on that, it opens up an add new asset account, and I'm going to go in here and type in Huntington Bank CD. I tab down. It requires that I enter, of course, a number 1 account. So we're going to make that 25100. I believe that account's available. I can even choose the subtotal where it belongs. So we're going to choose total current assets and investments. To choose the subtotal and simply click OK. And there it is. It adds my Huntington Bank CD account to the chart of accounts there on the tree view and on the left under the chart of accounts itself. Okay. Similarly, if I go over to my tree view and I collapse that down and I go down to say my funds, okay, and if I go hover over one of my say one of my funds, I can right click and choose add income or add expense to mission fund. So you can virtually do all of the same things you would do at the chart of account, at the other add accounts feature right here at the chart of accounts as well. Okay, including at the bottom of page 16 on that document, adding a fund. So if I go, okay, right click over fund, it brings up add new fund. Okay, and I simply click on that. It opens it up, and it opens up my add a new fund window, and I'm going to call this my Fall Festival Fund. Tab down. It would help if I spelled it right. Fund. Tab down. It puts in fund balance for the account name. I have to then select, again, an account number. We're using account numbers. We strongly recommend that. So I'm going to put in, I've looked at my chart of accounts already, so I'm going to call this 327100. And again, I could choose a specific subtotal if there one, but it is one inside of total fund balances, but I don't. So I simply click OK, and it adds my new Fall Festival Fund. Okay? It adds it to the chart of accounts. So one of the things that makes this different from others at this point for these funds is, of course, my Fall Festival Fund doesn't have any income or expenses linked to it yet. So that's why it doesn't show a plus sign next to it like the other funds do. Okay, when I click Mission Fund Balance there and I click the plus sign, there's the income and there are the expenses linked to to each one of those funds. Okay, so again, folks, you can do all kinds of things here at the Tree View tab on the chart of accounts. Okay. The other way to add accounts, of course, we're kind of deviating away from our Tree View at this point, is if we go up to Manage Accounts up at the top left and Accounts Plus Minus right up here in the upper left. Let me steer some focus again. Manage Accounts and then Accounts Plus Minus right there. And then we click on Accounts Plus Minus. Then the buttons below that change. And let's say here I want to add an income or an expense account to my new Fall Festival Fund. I would simply click Income. Okay. Opens up my Setup Chart of Accounts window. I would choose my Fall Festival Fund, and right here I can type in, Fall Festival Income. Tab down, we're going to make this one 27100. Let's see if it's available. It is. And then again, I can choose my particular subtotal that it belongs in. We're going to put it into other fund income. Simply click Add Account. All I have to do is go up to now Expense at the top. It still remembers the last fund I selected. So now I don't have to worry about that, albeit I want to pay attention to it. So I call Fall Festival Expense. I am just having all kinds of typing problems today, folks. So sorry about that. Festival Expense. Again, we're going to try 27100. And we're going to make sure we're choosing the proper expense subtotal if we here. Let's say would be a let's see, where would this go? Let's put this into outreach, and again, add account. Okay? So folks, right across the top here, just because we've simply chosen income and expenses, as I want to point out, up here at the top, when we choose the accounts plus minus, you can add any type of an account up here. Assets, client, AR, accounts receivable clients, liabilities, vendors, funds, income or expenses. Any of the account types that you need to add to your chart of accounts, we can add from those menu buttons across the top left by clicking accounts plus minus. Okay? With that being said, when we're talking about deleting accounts, we can do that from here as well. So, if I go to Manage Accounts, Accounts Plus Minus, choose, say, Expenses. If I click on that, it again requires that I choose the fund that I'm wanting to remove the accounts for. And as we clearly see here down the left-hand side, we've got our column. I've chosen my general fund in this case. You have to choose the fund. Then there's a delete column right here down the left-hand side. Let me see how, well, that's not a badly drawn arrow today. Okay, but hopefully everybody should see that down the left. That now when I've got the delete box here that I can check. And any of them that say NA, of course, those accounts are not eligible for deletion this year, most likely because they have activity, or in this case, these expenses have sub-accounts. So as we clearly see over here on the right under sub-accounts, we've got those sub-ledgers here. So any of those accounts that have sub-accounts, we would need to look at deleting those accounts first before we could consider deleting the ledger account. So if I click on Senior Minister Salary and Benefits over here on the right, it now does allow me to reveal those accounts in the ledger, and I could get rid of, say, Continuing Ed or Minister Pension. Okay. But again, that would be the en masse way of being able to deal with, deleting accounts. I would literally go down the list here and just check the accounts that I'm wanting to delete. Just literally going down the list. As we clearly go down, we see we've got accounts that we haven't used this year, and then you would simply click the Delete Selected Accounts button down here in the lower left corner. And it'll pop up and say, are you sure you want to delete this account? And you just click yes through it, and they're gone. Okay? So all we're doing here, folks, when we delete these accounts is we're deleting them from the 2017 chart of accounts. We're not deleting accounts from any other accounting year at all. All of these accounts will appear in 2016. And if I've already opened 18, they would appear in 18 as well. I might have to go through and delete those from the new year as well. Okay? So as we had also demonstrated before back at our Manage Accounts in our chart of accounts, we also can delete accounts at our Tree View tab on our chart of accounts as well. So if I type in here Thanksgiving, and I say type my Thanksgiving offering income, and I highlight that account, I go to the Tree View tab, it highlights that same account. If I right-click on it, it brings up a sub-menu, add income accounts to general fund, add income sub-ledger to Thanksgiving offering, delete Thanksgiving offering income, or edit. Okay? So I want to get rid of that account. So I'm going to choose delete, and it says, are you sure you want to delete Thanksgiving offering income? Yeah, we didn't use it this year. We're going to click yes, and it's gone. Okay? So again, two ways that we can delete accounts. Well, technically three. So, and this one isn't really covered in the book per se, but I'm going to show it to you anyway, is we can delete accounts from the Tree View tab. Granted, that's one at a time. Individually, not very time efficient and friendly. We can go up to our accounts plus minus, choose the appropriate account type, use the delete check boxes down the left-hand side here. The other option, and I'm not going to go into any detail on this, folks. There's not enough time. It's not covered in the book today. Under Special Functions, Manage Years, you've got the option right here called Delete Unused Accounts. That's generally the fastest and easiest way to do that. That's all I'm going to say about that. You can look at those accounts. We can click on it to look at it. But here are all of the accounts that the system sees in one place that are eligible for deletion in 2017. Okay? Finally, with about 5 minutes left here, editing accounts. Okay? So the editing accounts can also be done from the tree view, as we clearly saw, kind of, hinted at there, was if I go down to, let's say I go to, like in my example, senior citizens. So here's my senior citizens expense. So if I highlight that account, go over to my tree view on the right, it highlights that account. I can right click on it, choose Edit Senior Citizens. So if I click on that, it brings up my edit account. It allows me to add anything do anything I want to with this, just maybe not delete it. So if I click in here and I go, I want to add the word expense to it, I can just type in expense. Okay, I can change the number. Okay, so if I want to make that, make 555, and I can even change its subtotal. There it is. I've just changed my senior citizens expense account. Folks, you can do this with funds too. So if I go up here and I collapse down my general fund and I go, okay, I want to edit my mission fund, I just right click over it. Well, I have to choose mission. Let's first. Then edit mission fund. It allows me to edit, again, anything I want. The fund name, the fund balance account name, the account number, or the subtotal where it belongs, all from the tree view. But again, this is done one at a time, as opposed to, en masse. If you're wanting to do like a lot of broad changes to it, what I recommend, like to names, would be, as we've clearly showed right at the very beginning, is you just edit these account names right here at the chart of accounts. If you're needing to mass edit account numbers, that would be done right up here under Special Functions and change account number structure. Again, folks, we're not going to go into that today, but this is the place where you can do mass changes to your account numbers, either by changing them or changing your account number structure or what have you. That is a webinar event for another day. Okay? We can't go up to Manage Accounts, Accounts Plus Minus, and choose an account here and edit it right here. I can't do that. But you can, over here under your chart of accounts on the right-hand side, you can edit these accounts so it has similar functions to the tree view. So again, if you need to, while you're at the Setup Chart of Accounts windows here, whatever your account type, just go to your tree view and just right-click and edit your accounts there. Okay? So that's, again, on the page 22 of the workbook pages, folks, it does talk about, going for en masse changes to our chart of accounts by going up to Special Functions, change account number structure. Oh, error there. That's okay. Non-fatal. That's good. And right here, your account number before renumbering, account number after renumbering. Literally, you can just go right down the list of the account number after renumbering and make those changes and then save them when you're done in the upper left to make those changes. Nothing terribly challenging about it. But generally, that would be reserved for when we need to make wholesale changes to our chart of accounts. Generally, we're changing a lot of accounts at one time. That renumber or change account number structure is going to be the best place to do that. Okay, so that's our topic. Lots and lots of helpful places where you can go in and make changes to your chart of accounts. Let's get back here and see what questions we've got here. We've got a couple minutes left here. Okay, Penny, I'm sorry. I didn't see this question earlier. Is this where I can add a sub-fund? Well, sub-funds are different because they, it's a tricky question. Sub-funds, sub-accounts and sub-funds, accounts with sub-funds have to meet certain conditions. To answer that question in terms of what those are, I'm going to refer you back, for the time being, back to the website to talk, to look at under the Support Center page here, sub-accounts versus subtotals. That's a video that talks about sub-accounts and subtotals, and I think that's going to prove to be more helpful than me discussing that today here. But yes, anytime you're adding an account, whether it's an account that you intend to become a ledger with subfunds or subfunds, by all means, you can do those at either one of those places where we were before. At the Manage Accounts, as we saw before, what did we see under the tree view for my, when I had added the Fall Festival before I entered income and expenses, it allowed me to add a subledger fund to that if I wanted to. Can you print a complete chart of accounts with income and expenses with subtotals showing? Well, yeah, I think so, Kathy. Under reports and export, worksheets, list chart of accounts. Right there's your list chart of accounts report. That would be the report you would use to print your entire chart of accounts. When deleting, what happens to previous year's history? Nothing. Again, the end of year procedure, folks, separates this year's chart of accounts from others. So when you delete an account from one accounting year, it does not affect other years' charts of accounts. Good question. So if you are in 2016, will it delete? It only delete in 2016, will still be there in 617 or past years. That's absolutely right, Becky. Again, deleting accounts only affects the year that you're in, no other accounting, the chart of accounts years. If I delete an unused account in 2017, will it show up in 18? Well, Chris, that depends. If you opened 2018 and brought forward your chart of accounts from 2017 before deleting the account, then yes, that account's going to appear in both years. You'll have to delete it from both. If not, will it be available to reinstate? Well, yeah, that's one of the things, that if you delete an account from the chart of accounts you should not have, you can always just re-add it back to the chart of accounts. The key to understanding deleting accounts, folks, is there's no audit history or important information that the SIFT software is hanging on to, or it would not have allowed you to delete it in the first place. So if you go, oops, I deleted an account that I shouldn't have, you simply need to re-add it back to the chart of accounts. It's that simple. Yes, and the account number can be reused, assuming it's not assigned to something else. Exactly right. If you used an account in 2017 but will not have that account in 2018, will it need to be deleted after the new year is opened? Yeah, again, Annette, I think that goes back to the same question we had earlier, that if you had opened the new year with the account brought forward, you'll have to delete it in the new year as well. It's all a timing issue in terms of that. What happens to reports if you change account numbers? If for 2018 I changed local missions to 430 to a different number. Yeah, if you change them, the system knows what account belonged to which. If they're deleted and re-added, you would need to go to Manage Accounts and Match Accounts in order to tell the system this old account number in this year is this same new account number this year. But if you simply renumber, the system will match them for you systematically. LeBoy is asking, when is this version 20 available for download? LeBoy, I don't have an answer to that. I'm sorry. Our developers are still feverishly working to wrap up the final touches on the version 20. It's proving to be a little more buggy than we thought it was, and so it's delayed. But we don't want to send you out a bad product. So you'll get an email from us. Everyone will get an email from us when version 20 is available. I wish I had more information. I'm sorry. Okay. Well, thank you, LeBoy. You too. Merry Christmas, everyone. Hope everybody does have a nice holiday season. We still have a couple more webinars next week, folks. You may want to take a peek at those and join us for those if you're available. They might prove to be helpful. I think there's another one on accounting and donations statements. So hopefully, we'll see folks there. But I'm going to go ahead and end the webinar for everybody. We hope it's been helpful, and please call us if you have any questions. But we hope to see everyone at a future Church Windows webinar event. All right. Thank you all. Take care. Bye-bye.